I can't believe it.
I've got it right here in front of me. 9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
9
9
times.
9.
Wake up and smell the coffee. 9 times.
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Naggy. I'm here once again with my co-host Liam McNeil, and you can't wipe that smile off that pudding.
My pudding has been smiling ever since I baked it together. What's pudding made of?
Pudding, no, it's
What's
pudding.
Christmas pudding made of?
Alcohol mainly.
Yeah, I love a Christmas pudding. My Uncle Gary makes a really good Christmas pudding, and a few years he lets it hang, for a couple of weeks to develop flavour.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell the rest of the family. And so they sprayed pesticide inside the room. It was hanging. It ruined the pudding that he worked on for weeks.
Ruined the pudding.
Yeah.
It's
Uncle Gary, love your puddings if you're listening.
interesting cake to have at the end of the year because it feels like they're rattling around for months. And then it's like, let's enjoy this as the final meal, like the final part of the meal.
Well, remember there was a whole business in Adamstown at that church selling nothing but Christmas pudding.
Christmas pudding.
What a terrible business idea.
And they're not
irrelevant for 3 weeks a year.
They're not really great, let's be honest. They're mainly quite tart and, I don't know, they're not good.
Didn't they used to have money in them? Wasn't that the thing? You used to
you bake a penny.
You bake a penny. If you break your tooth on the penny, it's good luck.
Yeah, well, that was the 50s for you. Everything was good luck back in the day if bad things happened
Teeth
to
were
you.
probably rotten anyway from not brushing them all the time.
Liam, it's so exciting to be
Oh,
here.
yes.
Finals week 1, and there was a massive rush on all the tickets. You see, the tickets just flew out the door like it was a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah, we went on, as my father, of course, had a 3-game membership this year, so we got access to the members' pre-selection tickets. I think we got on Ticketmaster at 10:01, and there was already about 7,000 people in the queue ahead of us, it said.
Yes.
So, Jousters, I hope you've got your tickets, but if you don't have tickets, Naggy, there's got to be some way to enjoy the game, surrounded by close friends, family, loved ones, just Newcastle Knights diehards. But where do you go?
This monumental occasion cannot be skipped over in the calendar. You must enjoy it in the heart of Newcastle.
In a monumental venue, a monument to live sports.
Exactly, Liam. And where is that? None other than the Hamilton Station Hotel. Now,
On the most convenient street in Newcastle.
it is exactly right. It's very easy to get to. And when you're there, surrounded by Knights fans, your colleagues, if you will, in this finals campaign of support, it's really important because it's this cost of living crisis that we're going through, Liam. Sometimes
inflation, taxes.
it's difficult to go out and think to yourself, how am I going to afford this? But the Hamilton Station Hotel has you covered. $5 tap beers. Now, that is unheard of.
That is unheard of. In a time, like you said, when so many Australians are struggling, you couldn't get, a head of lettuce for $5 these days.
But you can get a delicious glass of ice-cold beer watching your favourite team hopefully flog the Canberra Raiders. You can't get enough of it.
I can't get enough. I'm still just so excited, Naggy. This is unprecedented territory for us as jousters. I don't think we've ever jousted a season where we're so overjoyed at the end of it.
Remember, the Hamilton Station Hotel happy hour goes from 4 p.m. till 7 p.m, exactly encompassing, gripping around the very game that we're talking about. Happens to be perfectly timed, but they also do it on Thursdays as well. $5 tap schooners. You cannot beat that in this economy.
Also a great day of the week, Thursday. I like Thursday.
It is wonderful.
Yeah, it's a good day of the week.
Now, if we move forward, we have to look at this 9 times.
9 times.
It gets better the more you look at it. You see, it started off and everyone thought, well, it's just the Bulldogs. And then they thought, well, it's just the Tigers. Hang on a second, we beat the Storm.
The Storm, and then its fellow top 8 candidates, the Raiders, and then the resurgent Dolphins.
Yeah.
And look, I think the thing that we all forget is we haven't scored less than 26 points in those 9 times.
And look at these scores against, especially in recent weeks. 6 points against the Sharks, 10 points against the Bunnies, 6 against the Dogs, but they're
they don't try.
Well, they're not against us because we've beaten them mentally. We've broken them. They're no longer a football team. We've thrown them into turmoil. We'll get back to that later. But it's such an exciting run leading into the finals. People are saying, oh, this is a bit like 09 Parramatta. It's better. It's better than 09.
Because our fullback isn't going to go to jail.
That's probably true.
Please deliver on our promise, Kalen. We've set the bar high for you.
Yeah.
Don't commit crimes that are going to send you to prison. I know it's a high bar to set in this society, but just don't do it, bud.
And if you do go to prison, don't get caught up in a Ponzi scheme with a guy who's in prison for setting up Ponzi schemes. Just saying. Just saying.
See, this is the advice you tune into the Joust
Yeah,
for.
yeah, financial advice.
Financial advice.
Don't give your money to someone who's already in prison
For stealing money.
For stealing money. But Liam, it's time to talk about everything else rugby league. It's time for the news. What's happening in rugby league at the moment, Justice?
And there always is, but especially at the moment.
Yeah, the week one of the finals has been confirmed with the Sharks win over the Raiders. Now the Raiders, who we're playing, didn't put up a whole. It was a tightish game, but then the Sharks ran away with it in the end. Now this leads the Sharks to play the Roosters, Liam, at their very own venue, Shark Park. They call it Shark Park in the dark, as they call it.
Sold out in a matter of seconds because there's only 12 seats there.
12 seats. They say it's going under a renovation, but there wasn't a huge capacity anyway, and they've basically halved it.
There's nothing better than renovations in rugby league. I think the great renovation bungle was when they were talking about moving the Bears to Central Coast in 1998, and they used the wrong paint. They painted the stadium, and then they realised, that's the wrong paint. It's now too heavy and doesn't work in the rain. And so they had to spend half the season playing, I believe, at North Sydney, and then were just nomads for the rest of the season because the ground that they were promised, great football stadium there down in Gosford, Blue Tongue Stadium, but because
I don't think it's been called Blue Tongue for a while, but anyway, but still
should be.
It should be. Bring back Blue Tongue.
I played footy on that stadium once. It's softest grass ever.
There's only about 3 events there a year.
And I fell asleep.
Every game you play, you get concussed.
Most of them.
Isn't that the thing you're not meant to do? You get concussed, don't go to sleep.
Oh, it wasn't intentional. It was just such a beautiful soft ground. It was like landing on a Sealy Posturepedic.
I think you knocked clean out. I think it's not necessarily you went to sleep. You was knocked unconscious. Yeah. But it's very interesting.
It was the only time my dad ever gave me fighting advice. He said to me, son, if a fella that big has a go at you again, don't punch his face. He's going to laugh at you.
Yes.
Go for his kidneys. Because he was twice my size.
It's like punching a shark in the nose. It's sort of like, if you reach that point, good luck.
Because if you miss, hand goes in its in the biter.
Of course, yeah. But if you ever try to throw a punch underwater anywhere, what's the point? Like, what is the actual point?
It's too hard.
It's like punching when you're asleep and then you're like, I'm gonna fight, and you can't like do anything because your body's.
And then you've accidentally slept on your arm to sleep, and then you get knocked out.
Every night it seems like I'm waking up in the middle of the night and my arm is. I feel like it may never work again. That's how dead it is. It's like
extremely clotted blood.
I have to pick it up and move it around like this, and try to gain some feeling.
Yeah, they call that the guest, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
the Christopher.
Yeah.
Now we finished fifth, Liam. Fifth on the table.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jousters count them. 5 stars out of 5. Newcastle Knights.
I couldn't think. Look, if the season was any longer, we would have just kept going up and up and up.
I think so.
I think we speak for everyone, but especially Adam Clements, who has coined the phrase "the Knights may never lose again."
What a great man Adam Clements is. Saying such a wonderful, wonderful sentence. We love to hear it, Adam.
The Knights. I think we can confirm it. The Knights will never lose again.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. So and there was much rejoicing and shouting in the streets, Justice. There was. Now we look at another surprise package of this season. You can't go past the Warriors, who finished 4th.
Which it's easy for the Warriors to be surprise packages because no one really pays attention to them or cares about them. So, if they were to finish in the top 8 this year, they would have been a surprise. But they've finished in the top half of the top 8 in 4th position.
Yeah, top four Warriors. I think, and Sean Johnson was basically told, I think at the beginning of end of last year, this might be maybe it's time to move on.
Might be a swan song.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, the swan's singing. The swan's out there warbling away.
What do you think of Up the Wars? Do you think it's an expression?
Like it.
There's something a bit off about it.
Soft. The wars.
The wars. Up the wars.
Up the wars.
It sort of fades away.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Well, they're very operatic. The sort of the
they're an operatic people. The Kiwis, they're very operatic people. I've been saying that for years.
It's like that song from Dave Dobbin, the
Slice of Heaven.
Slice of Heaven. We'll keep going. We're doing a Dave Dobbin tribute show now. It's just going to be all of his hits, which is just the one, but it goes for 6 minutes. But it's a surprise to see the Warriors there. We might come across
a good surprise though. And I think rugby league is better. People say rugby league's better when Newcastle are doing well. I think it's likewise for the Warriors, because New Zealand is such a big market. It's such a rugby union market.
Yes.
When people in New Zealand are jazzed on rugby league, know rugby league's doing well.
I think
so. Rugby league is strong. Still not time for a second New Zealand team. That won't work. But still, they're good, and that's fine.
That's pretty good.
Very enjoyable.
That's good, unless they lose and we win and we play them next week. But,
in which case, burn in hell.
Yeah.
Sean Johnson.
Your time has come, Andrew Webster. The other surprise was the grand finalists from last year, the Eels.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
That's a shame.
They couldn't do it again. And we were hoping they would.
How sad that eel is.
We were really hoping they wouldn't, and they didn't. So which is nice when all things work out. The Bunnies as well, finishing 9th on the cusp of the 8th.
Again, West Tigers fan, be so overjoyed that a basket case was basket cased upon you.
Yeah,
you weren't the basket case. But now with the Bunnies being the new basket case of the NRL, their basket case has been taken away, and there's a third basket case in the space of 3 months.
It's a basket full of basket cases, which is interesting to say, because when after the season of a disappointment, you have to start looking at where everything went wrong. Implosion, possibly. Culture gets brought up a lot. And there's a Canterbury player, former Canterbury star, very loose use of that term. Of course, his name's Andrew Davey, a graduate from the School of Unremarkable Boys, have come out there and said that, and you'll notice they're also, Liam, they'll refer to him as a journeyman playing for Parramatta, Manly, Canterbury, and then
journeyman is just a covert way of saying he's not very good.
You're shit, basically. Because, you never talk about a champion player and say, well, he's a journeyman. You say he's a champion.
Yeah.
If you're terrible, you just say you've been on quite a journey.
It's the same with being a cult hero. If you're described as a cult hero, you're like,
fast.
well, I'm not very talented. I'm the least talented person in the comp. No.
Yeah.
You're a cult hero.
If you're a cult hero, if you're a bit fatter than everyone else on your team, then you become a cult hero. George Rose, the cultish hero.
Dean Witters. Had a bit of a belly, one of the best ball players of his generation. Amazing.
James Graham obviously has come out and defend and come after sort of Davey and said that this is professional football and he needs to aim up. But this is also
you know what he said? He said, "I ate human ear for this club. What have you done, Andrew Davey?
Yeah.
I tasted the blood of an opponent in my own mouth."
He was a fierce competitor there.
Love it. That was great.
He was an angry. Where is he from? Up north?
Oh, who knows? Huddersfield, Yorkshire, Leeds, Liverpool,
the two Leeds,
2 Hulls,
Newcastle, of course.
These towns don't exist outside of rugby league.
Newcastle upon Tyne.
Yeah. That one. That's another good one. The funniest one is there's a town called Workington. Now, if ever there was a town that is built on the working class, it is the town of Workington. Imagine setting that town up. It's like, what's this town going to be known for? It's like, I don't know. Just working 80-hour weeks and having bad backs. It's Workington.
Terrible. You gotta, down the mines. Yeah, they're all
probably Thatcher.
Thatcher
ruined the mining industry. That woman. God. Never forgive her for what she did to the poor mining towns of the north of England.
That's right. Of course. And not to mention the car factories, Liam. The car
factories
as well, yeah.
You can't get a good Range Rover to save your life.
You can't get a good British layman anywhere. It's the Dogs have sort of imploded on themselves, and now there's a lot of finger pointing. There's a Cameron Ciraldo, there's a Gus Gould intervening. Gus Gould's also working full time for Channel 9 and etc.
Which still is mind boggling that he's allowed to be an NRL CEO or general manager or chief of performance, whatever his title is. The fact that he's allowed to be a prominent member of the NRL media while also being a prominent member of a club that is in the NRL that the media is reporting on.
That's his whole career, really.
It's his whole career.
Yeah.
And now I think this came to light when Andrew Davey apparently was forced to wrestle 12 of his teammates, 12 of them. 12. When
there's a punishment.
I think they've gone soft on him. There's a whole 29 players in their top 30 squad. He only had to go up against 12. Wouldn't you like to see Cameron Ciraldo and Philip Gould wrestle it out?
In the Speedo. In the mud pit.
And I reckon Gus he'd wrestle dirty.
I think so.
Because he came from that era of rugby league where you could get away with a squirrel grip.
Yeah.
You could elbow a guy in the eye socket.
Go after Ciraldo's broken leg from his career.
Whereas Cameron Ciraldo's too much of an honourable man.
He is an honourable.
He's an honourable man.
Say what you will about Cameron Ciraldo, but he is an honourable man.
He sounds Italian though. So I don't know about that.
I don't know if he
don't trust him.
I always think it's funny if you're complaining about having to wrestle 12 men when your job is to go out there and basically wrestle 13 men in front of you.
Well, that's it. That should be on the resume. I can wrestle 12 men. That's the first thing on the resume.
That's one less than you have to do during a game.
Soft. Just like James Graham said. Soft. They're taking accused him of pissing on an ex-Canterbury player in an argument.
Yeah, well, that's...
Wait, pissing on? I missed this part of the story.
No, it's...
Great Slams top owner accused him of pissing on.
I think it's about Buzz.
What an odd saying.
Yeah, Buzz.
That must be a Northern English saying. Oh, you were out pissing on him.
Maybe
that just means you're saying something mean about it.
I think so, yeah. It's like pissing in your pocket. There's another expression I've never really understood.
Don't piss on my feet and tell me it's raining, Naggy.
That's the... Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining was Judge Judy's book.
Oh, I thought it was from that McCain ad.
I was in a well-established expression. Or with the corn.
Yeah.
That
This is
farmer.
Marge pissing out the window on the
Marge, the
corrugated iron
rains
roof.
are here, and he runs in. He was so excited to see his farm finally get some rain, and really it was just the kids.
Isn't that really quite sad, when you hear about the plight of the farmers in this drought-stricken country, and they turned it into humour for an ad. That man was overjoyed because that was the first rain he'd seen in decades. He was going to be able to replant his bloody crops, and it was just Marge upstairs eating corn.
It was the kids.
It was kids upstairs eating corn. Marge was probably in cooking something.
Marge might have died. It might have been in his mind. Which is even sadder. There's a behind the sadness of that McCain ad. Juicy McCain. Now,
Great corn, though.
Speaking of another Juicy McCain, Latrell Mitchell.
On the move, according to this headline. Where is he on the move to, Naggy?
Well, they keep saying that he could be, doing either moving positions to centre. He could be moving out of the club because of the constant criticism they get. And I'm a Latrell fan, Liam. I like Latrell.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. I love him. I think he's great.
We've got there because he didn't play a lot of this season, but the games that he did play, a lot of W's.
There's plenty of W's there. And Latrell does what Latrell does. He waits till 78 minutes have gone. Yep. They're down by 12 points. And then he just says,
I've decided to
Latrell.
win. I'm Latrell.
And then they win.
Yeah. They do Latrell things.
They do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think he'd be wasted at centre, I think. And also they've got this bloke coming in there, a 30-year-old Jack Whiten coming over from the Canberra Raiders to apparently win a premiership. Not great timing.
Yeah.
It's like the curse.
I hope he has a big get-out clause in that contract.
If you ever say that you're moving to a club because you want to win a premiership there, you're basically cursing them to have a terrible, terrible season.
Brandon Smith, great example.
Tyson Frizzell.
Said that about the Roosters. They're coming in at the bottom of the 8.
Tyson Frizzell said that, but this is his 3rd year here, so hopefully he can actually win a premiership.
That'd be nice. I didn't know he said that.
Yeah.
Good
We
for
can
Tyson.
thumb our nose at all those St. George wankers. Sam Burgess also he's leaving for Super League, so
he's reaffirmed his commitment to coaching Super League club Warrington next season. Now, I heard during the week that he agreed to get his Level 3 coaching certificate. Now, if you were to be appointed a head coach in a professional league, I would have thought you would have to have a certificate of some sort.
Yes, and he had the fallout with Rusty here as well. You see, that's what they were embracing there. But apparently, Rusty is quite a abrasive kind of a person to be around any time long term. And then there was also some stories that came out through the week talking about how much control. It was Adam McDougall. It was actually from an older interview, but he was saying how
South legend Adam McDougall,
who came and basically said, look, they wouldn't have won a premiership without Peter Holmes-Court and Russell taking as much control as they did, but my God, they took a lot of control to the point at which they were there training with them, talking about what you need to do, faux coaches, if you will. And it's like, well, that sounds awkward. I wouldn't want to be a part of that.
So given the way he performed in Gladiator, I think Rusty would be great in the wrestling that the Bulldogs were running through.
Yeah, well, he would, considering his weight now.
General of the Legions of the North.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. He would have his vengeance in this life or the next.
Yeah, that's really the highlight of the
I
whole
think
movie.
what you'll see there, Joust, is that Russell Crowe's so abrasive, he's actually abrased the top of Sam Burgess's head off. Opened up his brain and he may cook it in a frying pan like that great scene in Hannibal Rising.
Yeah. And then it was
not a great movie, but a great scene.
From Hannibal, of course. That's who's the guy that he's cooking the brain? It's the guy
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta. Yeah, that's right. And he's
controlling his talking bits.
Yeah, it's very odd. It wasn't a great movie, but it's memorable apparently.
Yeah,
we all watched it. What else?
They replaced. They had Julianne Moore instead of Jodie Foster, which is a pretty good swap.
Both redhead,
two semi-attractive red-headed ladies. That's an easy swap. Well, they got 20 of them now.
Liam, before we jump straight into
back to South being a basket case.
But I was going to say before we jump all the way in the finals, Liam, we're going to talk about the game that we won on the weekend, which is against the George Wankers, and we made it 9 in a row. We're on cloud 9.
Yes, which is the best cloud to be on. I don't know where that saying comes from. I don't know what happened, what bad things happened on clouds 1 through 8, but I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. If they were so bad that the 9th cloud's the best one to be on,
yes.
Sure. Keep me away from them.
It would be nice to be up there on a cloud, just like a big foamy mattress, like those.
It'd be very damp though, because clouds are made of rain.
That's true.
It's a damp mattress.
Yeah, made like a waterbed. It's like it's one of those sleeping duck mattresses you see the ads for a lot, and you
Never heard of them.
Well, they're
Why
apparently.
do you want to sleep like a duck? They sleep in the water, sitting
That's
up.
true. No, sometimes they sleep on land and they tuck their head into themselves like a
They
cat.
look like a loaf.
Yeah, like little.
We
loaf.
have a lot of black swans near our house, and they do the same thing. They curl their neck in
And
upon itself.
Yeah. It's like a cat. Most animals are like cats. It's just, if we look at look, it was basically a very one-sided affair. Jacob Safidi going over in the first minute, and Ari Tawala following up quite closely. Ben Hunt did his best to carry his side as he's
That's
done.
a lovely chip and chase. You don't see a good chip and chase try often anymore.
It's always on.
It's always on.
It's always on.
Especially when you have a fullback who doesn't exactly know what he's doing, and Lockie Miller, of course.
Yes. And he saw it. He was up in the line and he went for it. However,
God, I hope for Ben Hunt's sake that he gets out.
it did.
I really do. The man just tries so hard. He's so good, and he's surrounded by Cloud One.
Yeah.
Players from Cloud One.
It was a game that the Knights never really looked like losing. We sort of broke them early, and they started thinking about their barbecue that they could have during COVID, and they were retiring for the year. And we were like, this is only the beginning.
And Jack DeBellin played like he was hiding under the bed.
You would forget that this was a team filled with talented players like Ben Hunt, like Ravalawa, like Zach Lomax.
Wasn't that an intriguing battle of the short, stocky, stout men?
Yeah.
Ravalawa and Greg Magier, the bus.
They're on the opposite ends of the field, opposite sides of the field.
No, they weren't. Because when Ravalawa scored, Greg Magier tried to bus him over the sideline.
Oh, of course, right. Bus. The bus. Of course, that's how he does. He buses.
He buses.
And a little bit late. It was a monumental game for Dominic Young, who was chasing
a man who I love. I've said it right from the start of the season.
Don't think you
from
have.
Episode 1, I said I love Dom Young, and nothing could change my mind on that, and I stand by it. I know it was controversial at the time.
Yeah.
I know that a few fans looked at me and they said, Liam, he signed for the Roosters. I think you're wrong. And I said, no, I love him. I've always loved him.
The unfortunate thing about podcasting, Liam, especially on video, is that everything is actually recorded.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So it's really hard to go back.
I'm terrible at gaslighting. That's one thing my wife can be very glad at. I am not good at gaslighting. I don't know how to do it.
23 tries to Donovan, getting those 2 late tries in the game. He goes over Quilly Wate with 21. Tamana Tahu also with 21.
Both, I think you would say, Knights legends.
And also we got Greg Magier, the bus down there.
Oh, yeah, bus down there in 20 as well.
20 is there, but Wikipedia just doesn't include him. But maybe they will in the future because we've re-signed him also for a few more years.
A handsome re-signing.
Dom Young there scoring. He's wonderful. And also getting my hats off for this week. It was very hard to ignore. He had a stellar game, especially towards the end. It was, he
hat stopped himself. A man can't be at that angle and a hat stay on his head.
No, not at all.
He
flew
essentially made his own hats off by just falling upside down.
It flew off into the air. But if we look at the stats here from Dom Young, there is over 200 running meters, 81 post contacts, 2 line breaks, 11 tackle breaks. He's slippery.
We're gonna miss that.
He's slippery.
We're gonna miss that.
No, he can't look too far ahead. Everyone's worrying about next season, but this is the season, and we've got him.
And I love him. Like I said, I always have, and I always will. My hats off, Naggy, this week. It's not a statistical focused hats off.
No.
Now, at the start of the season, we signed Tyson Gamble.
We did,
and we said, don't know about that.
Handy player.
Don't know about that.
Handy.
Yeah. But a bit of a nonsense stirrer. But what he's been over the second half of the season, especially, he's reined in the nonsense.
Yes.
I think the last time we saw any nonsense from him was in that Bulldogs game.
South's game. There was a bit of
but he's really reined in the nonsense and let his football do the talking. He's chatting with his hands and he's chatting with his feet.
Yeah.
And he's having a word to the Steeden in its ear, just going, just do what I want to, bud. I'm going to do something to you. Just go with it.
Yeah.
And he's putting together some remarkable rugby leagues. Really good rugby league. There was the pass for the Dominic Young try, of course, where he happened to be in the great spot for the Oren Keeley offload.
Yes.
There was of course the try where he sliced through, got the break, and Swala in the inside.
That's great pace.
He does have great pace. And then there was one of the great disallowed tries, the chip and chase, of course, which we just discussed. Isn't pulled off often. And if it wasn't for Riley Jones or Oren Keeley, they both kind of look the same.
Yeah.
Oren Keeley being a hint offside. It would have been one of the greats. So Tyson has come along in a way this season that I would never, ever have expected to.
Yeah.
He's that steady hand all of a sudden. He's not the hothead anymore.
And I think if we were looking back at it, there's another player that didn't quite go, another shade off a hats off. I think we also got a shade of hats off last week was actually Adam Clune, who I don't think we have a slide off, but it's there's sorry Sam, but if you said to me when we're on a six games in a row, you think Adam Clune's not going to get a game. He's come in, played 3 games, 3 out of 3, 100% record.
And played well too. He hasn't taken too much of a back seat. While obviously Gamble seems to have taken over the role as the lead dominant playmaker, Adam Clune has in no way, shape or form sat back and said, you guys just do what you're going to do. He stepped in and he said, no, I'm going to do what we are going to do. Absolutely. I'm not going to do what I'm going to do because that is not the team ways. I'm going to do what we need.
Yes.
What we need. And he's done it brilliantly.
And also Lockie Miller, it wasn't a perfect fullback game, but it was good to have a replacement with that kind of experience. I thought he was pretty solid.
And a good way to see Lockie out. Again, his career at Newcastle will be remembered as one of the most up and down seasons I think you'd ever see. Yeah. And so for him to go out with a semi-decent game, not bad.
And look, could also get another opportunity in the finals if our beloved Caleb Ponga was to succumb to some sort of injury, because he is a bit of a floppy boy.
What are your thoughts on... What are your thoughts on
floppy
the
being he bends a lot when he gets hit, not that anything to do with his floppy penis.
Okay, I was a bit concerned there, Naggy.
Yeah, well, I just said the thing that you shouldn't say.
Well, I haven't had a floppy penis since we won that game 66-0. They say go to the doctor if it hasn't gone down in 4 hours. It's been, what, 6 weeks now?
6 weeks. We've done...
9 weeks.
We've
hard as a diamond.
Even right through
mighty diamond.
Even right through the bye.
Especially right through the bye.
We've taken the legs off this table, Liam. It's purely supported by you.
Speaking of things that are hard done by, though, Lockie Miller's sin bin. What did you think of that? Wasn't that the strangest decision you'd ever see?
Because he made the decision to tackle him.
Yeah, he made the decision to tackle. He tackled. Then the ball came back. He'd already made the decision to tackle, put the tackle on. What an odd call that I don't think we'll ever see again. I've never seen the likes of it before.
No. But at that point, we felt confident enough that we could beat them any which way from Sunday, which I'm not sure is an expression.
No, well, someone who went any which way from Sunday was poor Oren Keeley. His first touch on an NRL field, he just doesn't look at the ball and it hits him in his head.
Yeah, straight in the noggin.
Straight in the noggin. That's the first thing they teach you, Oren.
Yeah.
Look at the ball, bud.
He came back and had some nicer touches a bit later in the game.
That's a fringe you can set your watch to.
I forgot to mention about New Brown as well.
Oh, he's been great.
Doesn't he just look like he's been in that team for 1,000 years?
The wonderful try looked for all money like he was short. Could have been a double movement.
Yeah,
no, better than the old Brown. You're right,
the old Brown.
He slotted in seamlessly. Absolutely seamlessly.
Another great depth option into this finals campaign.
But again, 17 hats could have been taken off this game, and I don't think you fans would disagree.
No, not at all.
Wouldn't disagree. The bit part players have been just remarkable.
They have.
I think Adam Elliott as well has been an underappreciated part of this win streak.
We have.
His game on the weekend especially, he's got it all. He runs, he passes, he crabs across the field, he runs straight, he does it all.
He
does it all.
Goes out there for 44 minutes and really rips in, which I appreciate. And so hats off to everyone there. We've got...
No, we're not doing it again. No, we're not doing it again.
Liam, butter, flour, and all the other things that you do to make a pie, and then you fill it with miscellaneous animals. By the week, try of the week. The rat coffin.
Pie of the week, ladies and gentlemen, this week. It's a bit of an understated... An understated example, We were going to talk about the first try, merely 1 minute into the game.
Yeah.
And it was not a flashy try. It wasn't anything showy. It wasn't out there. It was good fundamentals executed particularly well. It was a really nice angle and pass from Clune.
Yep.
It was a great pass from Adam Elliott, hitting Jacob Safidi, running a brilliant line, just hitting that outside shoulder, the spin, the score. These were not things that are on their own spectacular.
Yes.
But when they come together, they yield a spectacular result. And that's what today's pie was. It was from Miranda's Cakes, Pies and Sandwiches there on the boulevard in Toronto.
Yes.
And you look at that pie.
Oh, yes, we've seen this before. This is the one that looks like they've got a competing store next door and they decided to open a pie shop.
It does. I forgot that I went there before, but I decided to do it again. Yeah. But as you'll see from the pie, it doesn't look in any way, shape, or form like it's truly a remarkable thing, but it was. A perfectly fluffy crust, not fluffy, flaky crust with a nice bit of air between the crust and the meat. Nice rich gravy. It wasn't overly filled, which is good. It just took all the good things about a pie and did them well, which that try did. It took all the good things about rugby league, which is running and passing. Yeah. That's it. That is all rugby league is. Running and passing. But when you do them well, it's a thing of beauty. Free sauce.
Kicking and tackling, running and passing.
Forget about it.
Sauce report, tomato, you've gone there. Master Squeezy Foods, it looks like. Freebie.
I also had a sausage roll.
Oh, wonderful. Sauce
with
for
cheese and bacon.
Sauce for each, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Do you ever go more than one sauce? Do you ever go more?
No.
Well, that's maybe a me thing.
Yes, it is a you thing. No one's ever done that. It's the perfect receptacle, the Master Food Squeezy sauce.
That's true.
Science has determined that is the exact amount of sauce needed for a pie or a sausage roll.
Sometimes
How are you going over that?
I might like more.
Are you
sometimes.
slathering yourself in it?
Possibly.
Okay.
bit behind the ears, you know. We're going to take a halftime break. We'll be right back to discuss everything Newcastle Knights v the Raiders. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam, before we jump into the preview of the Knights men's side coming up against the Raiders, it's nice to know that the ladies have already done it.
Well, that's it. It'd be a bit rude to talk about an enormous winning streak without talking about the other enormous winning streak.
Yeah.
There's two in this one rugby league club within one calendar year.
And
two unbelievable win streaks.
Defending premiers. Now, they came up against the Raiders, a team that they were expected to beat. This is the ladies. But it didn't get off to the sort of game that we hoped for. It was 10-0 at halftime.
Which is not a good way to look at halftime. You know,
No.
you go there, you say 40 minutes is up, 10 points have been scored, none to us.
Yeah, Madison Bartlett.
Bartlett.
Sorry,
it's a very
I was-
simple one name.
I was going.
Bartlett.
The problem is if you can't read, Liam, everything's difficult.
Isn't that a kind of pear, a Bartlett pear?
Bartlett, I
When
think
was the last time you had a pear?
I bought a pear and then forgot that you have to basically wait until they're about to go completely brown before you can eat them.
You got a 10-minute window to eat a pear.
Yeah, because if you try to bite in the moments after you've purchased it from a
Broken
store,
tooth.
it's just as like a rock.
It's like biting into that penny in the Christmas pudding.
It's exactly like the penny. It's good luck biting
And then
into
if you eat it 10 minutes after it's good, second mouthful of sand.
it's not
It's
the
like
best.
eating a red delicious apple. That you want to talk about, false
Advertising.
The red delicious apple.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's good things.
Yeah.
Stepping away from bad fruit. Georgia Roche.
Back to our
what a
very
good
own
fruit.
pink ladies.
Yeah.
Hey. Well, they're red and blue. But look, Georgia Roche comes out in the second half, and 41 minutes into the game, which is the beginning of the second half, in case you're not rugby league fans out there, and and she gets over the line and really steers the whole game back.
6 minutes into the first half, because aren't the women's games 35-minute halves? Yeah, so 6 minutes.
Shit.
Still.
I said, if you're not fans of rugby league, me being one of them, apparently. But to steer the game back to a 20 points to 12 victory, obviously a huge right foot step, left foot step from Jesse Southwell.
The right foot step. One of the greatest you'll ever see. I feel like, again, looking forward into history, there'll be a couple of things that are remembered. The Great Barrier Reef was ruined by Tony Abbott.
Yes.
The Tower of Babel didn't exist.
Yep.
Jesse Southwell's right foot step is the greatest thing we've ever seen.
Exactly. The three pillars of humanity right there. And she gets her hats off for this week. Great work from Jesse Southwell.
Could have gone to Tamika Upton as well. I think, and again, we've waxed lyrical about Tamika Upton so far this season. Is she the greatest fullback in the history of rugby league?
Yes.
Again, are we open to,
Well, the Knights just love fantastic fullbacks from Queensland.
We do, yeah.
We can't get enough of them. But we have enough of them right now. We don't want any more.
Two is enough. Two's good.
Two, we've filled that cup.
We called Reece Walsh. We said, we don't want you, buddy.
Yeah.
Stay at the Broncos. And he stayed.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any coincidence that he stayed there after a quick phone call from the Joust.
And, of course, we can't get past Caitlin Johnston, obviously the tough
the
lady.
big woman.
Yeah, the big woman. The lady from Windale. They breed them tough out there.
They breed them very tough out there.
Gosh, Windale, what a place to grow up.
Apparently a place filled with try-assists because she just keeps getting them.
Another try assist.
She just keeps getting them. That's
She
two.
can score them and she can give them and she's the heart and soul of this team.
Yeah.
And speaking of
Very own chief.
yeah, well last year we were calling someone else the new chief, and I don't think
we
that's
were.
the case.
Mrs. Elliott.
Mrs. Elliott. But look, of course, we've got the game against the Roosters, top of the table clash for the ladies.
Love to see a top of the table clash, especially when it involves the Knights.
Yes, coming up against an old foe, the captain herself, Mrs. Elliott.
Yeah,
What? Ran out of words.
No Millie, no problem. There we go.
No
Sorry, I
Millie.
just had a Mitch McConnell moment.
No
There you go. I think I just had a stroke.
A lot of people are looking at Mitch McConnell and thinking, like, gosh, that looks terrible. He shouldn't be. That happens to me about 6 times a day. At any given moment, I could just drift off.
Just tune out. The brain just, kind of
yeah,
quick reset.
You stare off to the further distance and just have to really try to gather your thoughts. Again, if you can't read, everything's difficult. No, I know we've got that there. Millie Boyle coming up against next week. A top of the table clash. Whoever wins this game, Liam, will win the minor premiership of the NRLW, which is going to be exciting to see. Hopefully the Knights can take it out.
Because that'd be 2 minor premierships in a row, wouldn't
Did
it?
they win it last year?
I know they won the major premiership.
They won the major premiership.
Well, that's the better one at least. That's a much better one to win.
Of course.
I know, again, this is a controversial take, Jousters, but that's the big one.
The major premiership. Why have we got Kermit on the screen?
Because that's what Mitch McConnell looks like.
Oh, that's Mitch McConnell.
I think he looks more like the man with the eyes in his hands from Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
You know that guy?
He just stares off like this.
The Republican Party. What a group of upstanding human beings.
I don't know what anyone... If anyone doesn't watch the show and listens to it, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? It's a visual...
I think people who watch the show and listen to us ask that anyway.
It's a visual medium. Again, Mitch McConnell. Of course, what time... We've got the Raiders. We've got the Raiders. I say we, being the club of men, but really we're two different teams, one club. This week, the men have the Raiders.
What time is that game on, Dominic Young?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock in about 48 seconds. That's when
Look at that. 4 o'clock.
Again, it's visual medium, Justice. You got to be watching for that one.
Where's it going to be played, Liam? A finals game for the NRL.
Marathon Stadium. We're doing a throwback. We're doing a throwback. They called us up in the week. They said, boys, get out your paints. Go see the Dulux people. Get a couple of rollers. We're renaming it Marathon. So we went to the stadium earlier today. We got the red and blue Dulux out.
We
painted the hell out of it. McDonald Jones, who? Never heard of her. Marathon. I spent so much of my youth thinking that this was just a gladiatorial name. You know, they thought of the strongest name you could think of as Marathon Stadium, harking back to the ancient Greeks in the Olympics. The Marathon. It was just a tire company.
It was just tires.
They just sold tires next door.
Are they still there? Surely
I don't think so.
Surely there's someone there going like, oh, you know, I used to sponsor the stadium. They would say, shut up, John Marathon.
It was right next to the roller rink. Remember there's that roller skating rink there, inline.
Was there a roller skating rink?
Yeah, there was a roller skating rink there. Oh, no, it was a roller blading rink.
Oh, cool. They
used to play roller hockey there.
Yeah. Oh, roller hockey. What's that? Because that's, again, Waters Bay, ice hockey, the longest running ice hockey competition.
Good Old Cup.
Yeah, the Good Old Cup. But really, it
was a thriving roller hocky scene.
If you were, you know, roller hockey was where it was at.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, Marathon Tires.
That's a very big tire.
I thought they would have been red and blue things. See, I wasn't looking out for it. But of course, why would they be red and blue? I don't know. It's just a stadium sponsor. They don't have to match the team.
I love that on this show, Jousters, we learn just as much as you do.
It's an educational program for people that don't know much.
What a handsome team list, though, Naggy.
Oh, the team's
That's a real gentleman's list there.
All the players that we had hoped to have come back have returned back to the team list.
Almost like Adam O'Brien planned this all along for the last 4 years he's been coaching.
All the boys.
4 years of planning have culminated in all the boys. Sorry, Jaden Brayley. All the boys lining up against these disgusting people from Canberra.
It's like that.
Canberra has no purpose.
It's like that. The Simpsons reference, like, oh, and we're like Jaden Brayley, like, out of the way, you. Phoenix Crossland's there now. He's our real number 9. I like Jaden Brayley, but he's
great.
but Phoenix has been playing out of his skin. I'm so happy to have him part of this final side.
No, we are going to do just an end of season awards episode, and he's up for at least a dozen nominations.
Oh, absolutely.
Across all categories.
Phoenix, Crossfield, Bomberland. Kalen Ponga comes back to the team, as well as Jackson Hastings, as well as Tyson Frizzell,
Dan
Lachlan
Gagai
Fitzgibbon,
coming back as well.
Dan Gagai, Hurt Man, if you will.
Not this week.
Hopefully
not this week, he's not.
Hopefully not. But look at even the team in reserves. Adam Clune, Lockie Miller, Dylan Lucas, Nari Tawala, Brody Jones. Fantastic.
Men who have stood up when their club needed them.
Give them all rings,
The club said, boys. And again, that comes back to, I think we were discussing it last week. Everyone involved in that team through the season should get a ring.
Fantastic.
Because they played a part in that team winning. It's a grand final win is not a one-game event. It is a 28 round, 29 round, 30 round, however many rounds there are, including all the finals and grand finals. Everyone who kitted up should be awarded a ring.
We've also got our once much heralded hooker Danny Levi there in reserves for the Canberra Raiders.
Now, funnily enough, if you look through the team lists in the finals, there is a lot of Brownies boys. You know, the cast-offs from the Knights. You've got Dan Levi there, Pasami Solo, Tom Starling, Zach Wolford played in reserve grade.
Joseph
for the Knights
Tarpany.
with Joe Tarpany, of course. And that's only in the Canberra Raiders side.
Yeah, it might be more Knights in the Canberra Raiders side than there are in the Newcastle Knights team.
Might well be. But now we've got to talk, Naggy, about the big outs of the Canberra team. After we talk about the big in that's Kalen Ponga. Now, there may still be concerns about his AC joint, that shoulder.
No.
But I think what he's shown, and that, again, people who don't watch the Knights don't realise that he is a very tough fella.
He is.
He's a tough boy.
Floppy.
They see his 1.4 million and they say, that's a floppy number.
That's a floppy number.
It's a floppy number. But he'll get the hell needled out of him. He'll take whatever substance, legal or illegal, but don't go to jail, Kalen. We already discussed this.
You're not going to jail.
You're not going to jail.
Don't
But if
give
it
your
needs
money.
an illegal substance, go for it.
Don't give your money away. We know you want to. You got it all sitting there in the bank.
Ponzi was not a good guy, Kalen. Don't take his advice.
He wasn't.
But big outs for the Raiders, I think. It's safe to say that the Raiders of the last few years, the cornerstone has been their
Middle.
their forwards, their middle.
Yeah.
And they're missing two of the big guns in Josh Papali'i and Corey Red Horsburgh.
It's a great name to say. Corey Horsburgh. But it's
Horsburgh.
better to say Corey Horsburgh was out this week.
Yeah.
As
that
well
little caveat really makes it enjoyable to say.
As well as Sebastian Chris.
Now, Seb Chris seems to have thought that it was the 1970s, and he has put on one of the most honest-to-goodness, just old-fashioned spear tackles.
Yeah.
This was not a leg between the arm between the legs.
Yeah.
It wasn't
a leg between the arms.
It was neither of those.
Yeah.
It was neither of those. It was just I grab him by his waist and I put his head 6 feet under.
Yeah, clean into
where
the dirt.
Margaret Thatcher is.
Oh, yeah, again.
6 feet under.
It's
not deep enough. Bury her further.
Very anti-Thatcher show.
Yeah, I hate it.
Becoming
Terrible.
slightly more communist every episode that you watch us. Which I'm Ding Dong, the witch is dead. So yeah, we've still got some Canberra players within this team that I think can cause a bit of trouble. You see, Jack Wyden is one of those players that seem to, try his guts out. He's a bit like a Ben Hunt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He carries the team on his back, but he's out in the centres now.
And also he does dumb things. So when he carries the team on his back and he does a dumb thing, that means the whole rest of the team have done a dumb thing.
And remember, this is the Dally M 5th of the year last year. They said, let's put you in centre.
Oh, yeah, because Matt Frawley's such a world beater. Yeah, great one.
Yeah, no.
I think it's, Ricky's just... He's a true enigma in rugby league. He can do what he wants because he's in the pockets of the NRL media. No one will say anything. They'll just say, he's passionate.
Yeah,
Wears his heart on his
tells
sleeve.
the camera
He wears his brain on his sleeve.
Yeah, tells the camera
Takes it out of his noggin. There's no oxygen.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Sees the camera at him. He realizes that this entire thing is funded by broadcasters who produce television. And as soon as there's a camera on him, he tells them to fuck off. Right? Chewing his nicotine gum, right? His blood pressure through the roof. Ricky Stewart there with his high blood pressure, nicotine gum in the mouth. You see that ring on his finger? He can't get it off. I'm sure his ankles are swollen.
Got
all
the fattest
God's hell.
knuckles a man could possibly have.
He can't. Everything. It's so tense. You see, his blood's like honey.
He's tightly wound.
Yeah.
Very tightly wound.
Yeah, I'm surprised all the capillaries in his
If
face.
he wasn't handed, let's look at this honestly. If he wasn't handed a premiership winning team by Chris Anderson, would he have ever succeeded as a coach? Because people seem to think, they refer to him as premiership winning coach Ricky Stewart. That was 21 years ago.
Yeah, and he only won one of them.
He won one of them.
Yeah.
They fell off a cliff the next year. A star-studded Roosters team.
Yeah.
He made the grand final in 2019. That was about it.
Yeah.
Prelim in 2016, actually.
Yeah, prelim 2016.
And to be fair, he did have the Raiders, fairly steadily in the 8. So, yeah, Ricky, I think we've been a bit hard on you, mate.
Jordan,
but you made some dumb decisions.
We've come full circle. That's what you see here. We start with an opinion and then we disagree with ourselves. So Ricky Stewart, we kind of like you. It's all theatre, you see. He realises that he works for a television producing sport. He said, "I'm going to give them a bit of a dance. I'm going to have a bit of personality. I'm
tiptoe around the tulips with you boys.
Yeah, come for a ride. They've the old expression. Now, Jordan Rapana will either win this game for the Raiders or completely blow up the entire stadium. We're not really sure.
And I can't wait to see what happens. He's truly again, we mentioned Ricky being an enigma. Ricky's the off-field enigma. Jordan Rapana is the on-field enigma.
Rocks and diamonds, would you say?
Oh, no. What's more impressive than diamonds and what's worse than rocks? It's like a steaming bag of shit and a ruby. I don't know.
I think something like that.
Is that
They're
more
the
of
two.
a? Is that more of a like
They're the two.
divergence?
He
I don't know.
either looks like the best player in the entire world, or he looks like he's never played a game before in his life.
It's bizarre, and I love to see it. And he sums up this Canberra team so perfectly, and that's why I do worry
It's a
about this
concern.
Canberra team.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
team that can finish in the top 8 with a negative differential of 120 odd,
Something like that,
truly
yeah.
worries me, because they are, as we sometimes say about the Titans, they are agents of chaos.
Yes.
They are a chaotic team. At any point in any game, anything could happen. It's like watching that show, The Boys. I love watching The Boys
You don't know what's gonna
because
happen.
every second I watch it, my brain's just, what's going to happen next?
What's gonna happen?
What's going to happen?
There's
Is there someone going to crash and a dolphin's going to fly out the windscreen?
Yeah.
Is a man going to sneeze inside another man's penis and blow up? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's no way to tell.
I don't
And
know.
I feel like that's the Canberra Raiders. They are the boys of the NRL.
They are. We also look at their 2 games against the Canberra Raiders of this season. Obviously, smashed them early on.
Smashed
Early on, we weren't expected to win. We got them to 24-14. 3 tries in about 7 minutes down the right-hand side, I believe. It was before the Kalen Ponga return.
Yes.
And then with the Kalen Ponga in the team, managed to get a 20-0 start on them. And 28-6.
And that was junk time when they came back. Junk time.
Two fairly convincing performances. But Liam, if we look more broadly at the finals, now what we see on the screen here, we got the 2 most recent finals appearances. 2021, 2021. We had the 20-28 loss to the Parramatta Eels.
Now, Mitch Pearce kind of brought this one upon us,
No,
didn't
that
he?
was the one before.
Oh,
Sorry,
was it? Yeah.
sorry, but it was this one was the penalty try. We're only 2 points behind. The time was ticking down. It looks like
Terrible.
they could still do it, but they got a penalty try and 28-20. Disgusting. But we go before that to 2020, not too far away. We got up to a 14-0 lead against South Sydney. And then
What did Mitchell Pearce do?
they got a bit of a scuffle, and he was like, ha 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 ha, and he pointed at the, he turned into Woody the Woodpecker, was it? And then he pointed at the scoreboard. The scoreboard was like, we're 14-0 up, and we barely scored a point after that as they laid on 46 points against us. They ran through us. It was very upsetting to see. But if you cast your mind back, Liam, all the way back to 2013 was the last
A full
time.
decade ago.
That was the last time we went on a true finals run, and this was finishing 7th under Wayne Bennett, which we didn't. We were basically a win-loss season. We were surprised that we were there at all, and it was we came up against the Dogs. Dogs are in form, and they were in the grand
Didn't
final.
matter to the Newcastle Knights, though.
No, 22-6,
sir.
22-6, and then we backed it up with an incredible game against the Melbourne Storm.
Now, you jousters know that I don't remember anything that ever happens in my life at all. But I actually remember this game. I was working behind the bar at the Fire Station Hotel out in Wallsend. Very good pub.
Inferior pub.
There
too.
was inferior, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
still very good. But all pubs are
Can
very
I say,
good. Pubs are great.
I've never been at the Fire Station Hotel. I think it's a bit shit.
I enjoy it greatly. Yeah. All pubs are good. Don't let anyone tell you
I
otherwise.
was telling someone,
jousters.
about a year ago, I was like, oh, Liam used to work at the fire station, and I didn't say the hotel, and they assumed that you did some sort of remedial work.
I thought
like you were like the secretary of a fire station, like with firefight.
I was hoping they thought I was some big, sweaty, hulking firefighter.
No, they just thought you were doing the
Damn
books. Like, yeah.
Anyway, I actually remember this game.
Yeah.
Because I was there. It was pretty empty that night. Everyone was at home watching it on their televisions at home.
Yes.
And it was enthralling. There was like 4 people in the front bar. It was amazing. We yelled so much for 4 people.
Yeah, and you probably that's probably the busiest night of your life there.
That was up there.
Since you worked at the fire station, of course, when it was much more emergencies. Then
Just doing the books.
Then of course,
taking care of the Dalmatians.
if we remember the 40 points to 14 loss
again, Naggy, you asked me if I remember. I don't.
Well, if we all remember together, that was against.
I'm one of the all, so we don't all remember.
Danny Badiris' last game. He got knocked clean out by Joe Hargraves because he
noted clean skin of the NRL.
raised his knee, and he won't be there this year. A bit of revenge.
Delayed revenge. But isn't it kind of sad that in an entire decade,
Yes.
we've played 5 finals matches?
5 matches, yes.
That's
great.
bad.
That's
That's not
great.
many.
That's not great.
That's very
But
few.
If we look at the finals tree moving forward, of course, we're going against the Raiders. We'll play the loser of the Penrith or Warriors. It means if we beat the Raiders, we could be off to New Zealand. I'm assuming that's where we're going.
Sure thing. Why not?
Unless they play it all in Sydney. It doesn't
Yeah,
really
could
matter. And after
That
that,
would the Murdoch shills
The
would want them to do.
shills,
The
of course. They
shills,
say, come back.
yeah.
We say, we know you got shafted for 2 years
Yeah.
from COVID, but come back.
Come
over.
into Homebush.
Come play at
We'll
home.
put you up at the airport, the airport hotel.
that known rugby league heart ground, Homebush. Yeah,
It's barely even a real place.
No, it's
like there's nothing there.
And it's old.
There's houses everywhere.
Built 23 years ago.
There was Fox Studios there at one point. I assume was a big draw. But
Yeah.
does anyone watch movies anymore? I don't think so.
So we won't look too much ahead of how far we could go in the finals. We'll only look at the Raiders, but we potentially could play the Warriors or the Panthers after that if we were to be successful. But we've got to look at the casualty ward. There's a few ifs, buts, and maybes with the casualty ward of all the finals teams.
Ravaging.
Yeah, ravaging the finals.
The triage station has been very full. Joe Manu.
He's
Now that
good.
hamstring's got a big tick on it.
Good, apparently. He's good,
yes.
apparently. With hamstring's not an injury that's known for
Being
a quick, being good. The river of the leg, and it's the mouth of the river of the leg. You see,
Like the mighty tigress running down from his hip to the ground.
exactly. You need to get there via the river. Now, so he's back, and then we also got Connor Tracy, who's been named, but is apparently potentially still going to be out. Will
But if
Kennedy,
you cast your eyes, Joust, down to the number 22 jersey, you'll see a name there, William Kennedy.
as well
That's
as
an interesting one.
there's also been-
a hamstringsman.
There's also been some talk that potentially, I like to papa into my potentially, that we might see Nico Hines move back to fullback, and if
I
Connor
think
Tracy
he'd do a
was
wonderful
out,
job.
and then Matt Moylan moving into the house. Who knows? Who knows?
Braden
with the
Trindle
Sharks?
to me is the perfect foil for Matt Moylan, so I don't think that would cause too much issue. Sorry, Naggy.
There was a small bug. I didn't just have a hallucination. I nearly had a Mitch McConnell moment.
twice in one episode. That's a
Twice in one
record. Yeah, but I think what you see here is a much stronger middle from Cronulla. I think
Yeah.
that's where they'll really have it over the Roosters. And then the outside backs, Billy Smith, Federlaying Pauga,
Yeah.
not noted backline players.
Well-
so I think the Cronulla Sharks. Oh, I don't know. I want to say run right because I hate the Roosters ever so much with
hope
every
they win.
fibre of my
I'm
being.
going for the Sharks
I would
that
love to see the Sharks win.
Yeah, and then of course when we've got the Warriors and the Panthers. I couldn't remember the 3-time grand finals, 2-time premiership winners. The Panthers weren't on the forefront of my mind talking about finals football for some reason.
I feel like in the mid-late 2000s, the Panthers and the Warriors were kind of interchangeable as Matt Elliott teams. You see a lot of player movement across the two at
That's
the time.
true,
They
yeah,
were both Matt Elliott, and they were both kind of average at the time. So it's interesting to see them both at the start of the finals being in the top four. It's very interesting.
Jerome Luai, alive or gone? Shoulder.
Maybe for the year. I think we heard from the Boffins week 3 of the
Week
finals. He might be back.
which is incredible to assume that you're going to make it to week 3 of the finals, but that's the kind of team that Penrith are.
But again, another finals game littered with Knights offcuts. Jack Cogger. Mitch Barnett,
of course.
Maybe others.
Potentially, there are others.
No, there's not. Sorry, we have just gone over that with
That's
a fine
two.
tooth comb.
Two.
That's still 2, though.
2.
More than none.
More than none.
Yeah.
That's what we say.
And then Brisbane v Melbourne. This one's going to be an interesting game. We saw in the round just gone, Brisbane versus Melbourne, each playing their reserve grade teams.
They did.
Still a fantastic, high-quality game of rugby league. Those two
Good to
teams
watch.
just love playing against each other.
Yeah.
And Melbourne, more specifically, love beating Brisbane.
Yeah, and they have. Brisbane hasn't beaten Melbourne in 6 years, but this is a very different
6
kind of
years,
6
Mr.
years,
Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Oh.
And it's going to be an interesting one to see whether this powerhouse Brisbane team can come up against the finals veterans in the Melbourne Storm.
Of course.
And you've got there down the 17 Ryan Pappenhausen, of course.
Paper House,
if you know
Yeah.
your Dutch, and then
of course, more Knights cast-offs in Nick Meaney and Josh King.
Josh King, of course. Yeah. I don't think there's any Knights cast-off in the Broncos. But
There's a future Knights cast-off that may have been, dropped off the shelf, knocked onto the ground and spilled open.
That is potentially the very own Corey Oates.
The Oates have been dropped.
The Oates have
What?
been dropped.
A veteran. A club legend.
Yeah.
Potentially on his way out the door, and they've dropped him like a sack of oats.
Who's replaced? Jesse Arthur.
Jesse Arthur. Always a very good football player.
He's a very, very good football player. If we're looking forwards or backwards or forwards, always twirling Liam. The game starts at 4:00 on Sunday. That's on the
Dom o'clock.
On the Dom o'clock. It's amazing how he
The
got that leg
Domesday
right.
clock.
It's also
You know
very
that
lucky.
one that's counting down to the end of the world?
That's the Domesday, of course.
That's my brain counting down till he goes to the Roosters.
Dom thanks the NRL
The end
for
of
not
the world.
putting the game on at 6 p.m. because he would have broken his neck. And it would have been straight up and down. Liam, final thoughts on the game? What prediction do you think? We're going to blow them out of the water?
13 plus.
Yeah.
Anytime try scorer, I'm going to go with Matt Croker.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
I'm going to go with
Interesting pick of-
Tyson Gamble.
Matt Croker usually only plays 25 minutes a game. Interesting.
Oh, but it's going to be it's a good 25.
I like it.
It's a good
I'm
25.
a big fan of Matt Croker. Oh, I think Dan Gagai is going to come through with some important points for us as well. But Joust is
What a sexy sentence.
sexy. If you like us, please
Gets
like
people
us.
going.
Please like us on Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube,
Apple Tunes.
Apple Tunes, all those social pipes. Thank you for joining for another week. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you again next week when we're talking about a Knights victory further into the final series. And
Deeper and deeper.
10 in a row. We all go deeper. We go deeper. Oh, you've made it this far again with the Jousters.
You've joined Naggy, Liam, and Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. We'll be joining you again next week. Thank you very much for joining us this week, Jousters. We'll see you again next week.